Evan Hale had learned that silence in space was never truly empty. It always carried a weight. Sometimes it was calm. Sometimes it felt like a warning. The research station floated above a dead star, its metal skin dark and cold. No lights blinked. No signals answered. It had been silent for 6 months, long enough that the Galactic Council finally allowed humans to investigate. Other species had refused. The station was built by the Velari, a race known for abandoning anything they feared. Evan moved carefully through the main corridor, his boots making soft sounds on the floor. He was not alone. 2 human diplomats stayed behind him, and a security officer watched their back. Still, Evan felt as if someone was watching them from inside the walls. "Life signs are weak," the scanner said in a calm human voice. One life sign. Evan followed it deeper into the station. Doors opened slowly, power returning in small pulses as the human systems synced with the alien tech. The air felt thick, almost heavy, pressing against his chest. His head hurt just a little, like a distant echo of a headache. They reached a small chamber near the core. The door was half open. Inside, someone sat on the floor. She was small, smaller than a human adult. Her skin shimmered faintly, like light passing through thin crystal. Long silver hair spread across the floor around her. Her eyes were closed, and her arms were wrapped tightly around herself, as if she were trying to keep something inside. Evan raised his hand slowly, signaling the others to stop. He stepped forward alone. The closer he came, the stronger the pressure in his head became. Not pain, noise, like too many feelings at once that did not belong to him. The alien girl trembled. "Please," she whispered, her voice weak but clear. Stop talking." No one had spoken. Evan realized she did not mean sound alone. He stayed silent. He knelt a few steps away, making himself smaller, less threatening. "My name is Evan," he said softly, then stopped himself. Her body tightened at his words. Her breathing became fast and uneven. "I'm sorry," he said, then fell silent again. Her eyes opened slowly. They were large and bright, filled with fear and exhaustion. She looked at him like someone drowning looks at the surface of the water. "So loud," she whispered. "Your most minds hurt." Evan felt something twist in his chest. He had trained for first contact, for danger, for negotiation. He had not trained for this. She tried to pull away, but her strength failed. She pressed her back against the wall, her hands shaking. "Don't come closer," she said, then shook her head. "No, wait." She swallowed, clearly fighting something inside herself. "Stop talking," she whispered again. Just touch me." The words stunned him. Behind him, the security officer shifted, alarmed. Evan lifted one finger without looking back. "Wait." He focused on the alien girl. "Where?" he asked, then cursed himself and stopped. Her face tightened again. Slowly, carefully, she extended one hand toward him. Her fingers were long and thin, glowing faintly. Evan hesitated only a moment. He reached out and placed his bare hand gently against hers. The effect was immediate. The pressure in Evan's head vanished, like a door closing softly. The alien girl gasped, not in pain but in relief. Her shoulders dropped, her breathing slowed. She did not pull away. Instead, she leaned forward slightly, as if the contact was holding her up. "Oh," she whispered. "Quiet." Evan did not move. He did not speak. Minutes passed. The others watched in silence as the impossible happened. The alien girl, who should have reacted with fear or violence, relaxed under human touch. Her glow softened, becoming warm instead of sharp. Tears slipped from her eyes. "I forgot," she murmured. "I forgot what quiet felt like." Evan's heart pounded. He had read stories about empathic species, about races who could feel thoughts and emotions like storms. They were rare. Most had destroyed themselves or been destroyed by others who feared them. "You are human," she said, opening her eyes again. "Why are you empty?" He blinked. "I'm not empty," he said gently, then stopped again. She gave a weak smile. "No," she whispered. "Not empty, still, like deep water." She shifted closer, still holding his hand, careful but desperate, like someone afraid the quiet might break. "My name is Salith," she said. "They left me." Evan felt anger rise in him, sharp and hot, but he kept it buried. He knew now that she felt everything. "They were afraid," she continued. "I could hear them. Their fear screamed. It hurt so much I couldn't breathe." She closed her eyes again. "When you arrived, I thought you would be the same." Evan swallowed. "And now?" he asked softly, risking words again. She flinched only slightly this time. "Now," she said, "you are loud in a different way. You choose what you feel. It doesn't spill." That was something Evan had never thought about before. Humans had always been told they were emotionally weak compared to the galaxy. Too limited, too quiet. Salith's hand tightened around his. "Don't leave," she said suddenly, fear flashing across her calm. "If you let go, the noise will come back." "I won't," Evan said, and this time he meant more than the moment. Behind him, the diplomat whispered into a comm device, calling for medical support and clearance. Evan ignored it. Salith leaned forward until her forehead rested lightly against his arm. The glow of her skin dimmed further, becoming almost human-like. "Your kind doesn't know," she murmured. "They think power is loud, sharp, crushing." Her fingers traced the lines of his palm, curious but innocent. "You are different," she said. "You don't force yourself into others. You wait." Evan felt something change inside him then. A quiet understanding. He had grown up hearing that humans were fragile in a hostile universe, that they survived by luck, by numbers, by borrowing stronger species' rules. But here, kneeling on a forgotten station above a dead star, a being feared by the galaxy found safety in human stillness. "Salith," Evan said softly, "you're safe now." She smiled faintly, eyes still closed. "For the first time," she whispered, "I believe that." Outside the chamber, alarms began to wake. Power spread through the station. Somewhere far away, ships would soon detect the signal. Trouble would come. Questions, accusations. But for now, Evan stayed where he was, his hand steady in hers, understanding that sometimes humanity's greatest strength was not what it said or did. It was knowing when to stop talking. The human medical bay was quiet by design. Lights were soft. Machines hummed low, almost like breathing. Evan had ordered every alert toned down, every unnecessary sound removed. No alarms, no sharp voices, no sudden movements. Salith lay on the medical bed, her small frame wrapped in a light thermal blanket. Her skin still glowed faintly, but the sharp flicker from before was gone. Now it was slow and steady, like a calm heartbeat. Evan sat beside her, his hand resting gently against hers. Whenever he pulled away, even slightly, her breathing changed. So he stayed. Human doctors had wanted to run scans, draw samples, ask questions. Evan had stopped them all. "Observe first," he told them. From a distance. They did not like it, but they listened. Humans had learned long ago that rushing only broke things. Salith's eyes opened slowly. She looked around, alert but not afraid. "This place," she whispered, "it's quiet." Evan smiled a little. "We made it that way." She turned her head to look at him. Her gaze was focused, studying him like a puzzle that finally made sense. "You're still here," she said. "I said I wouldn't leave." Her fingers tightened around his, not in fear, in trust. "You don't leak," she said softly. "Your thoughts don't spill into me." Evan frowned. "Leak," she nodded. "Most species don't know how to hold themselves. Their emotions rush outward, loud, sharp. When I touch them, I drown." She closed her eyes briefly, as if remembering something painful. "With you, it's different." Evan listened without interrupting. He had learned that silence was not emptiness for her, it was safety. "You feel," she continued, "but you choose. You keep it inside unless you want to share." He had never thought of humans that way before. A human doctor stepped closer, careful to stay several meters away. "Vitals are stable," she said quietly to Evan. "Better than when we found her." Salith's eyes flicked toward the doctor. Her glow brightened for a second, then faded as Evan gently squeezed her hand. "It's all right," he said softly. The doctor froze. Salith relaxed again. She uses you as an anchor, the doctor whispered. Evan nodded. He already knew. Over the next hours, Evan barely moved. He ate with one hand, slept sitting upright. When he closed his eyes, he felt Salith's presence like a quiet warmth, not inside his mind but close to it. She spoke little. When she did, it was always soft. I can hear others outside, she said once, through the walls. Is it painful? Evan asked. No, she replied. They are distant, and you are here. The station trembled slightly as docking clamps locked on. A human transport had arrived. Along with it came news Evan had been expecting. The Galactic Council knew. They want her transferred, the diplomat said in a hushed voice, immediately to a neutral holding facility. Evan did not answer right away. She won't survive that, the doctor added quietly. Not without him. The diplomat looked uncomfortable. They don't care, to them she's a risk, Salith stirred. Risk, she repeated faintly. Evan turned back to her. You're not a risk. Her eyes met his. They fear what they don't understand. That's not new, he said. She was quiet for a long time, then asked, will they take me? Evan hesitated. He chose his words carefully. They will try. Her grip tightened. Her glow flickered, anxiety rippling across her skin. If they touch me, she whispered, without you it will hurt. I don't want to hurt anyone back. That sentence hit Evan harder than any threat. You won't be alone, he said firmly. Outside the bay, human security doubled. No one said it out loud, but everyone felt it. Something important was happening. Something that could change how the galaxy saw humans. Salith shifted, slowly sitting up. Evan supported her without letting go. I need to tell you, she said. About my kind, he nodded. We are called the Luri, she said. We are born open, too open. When we are young, touch is the only thing that keeps us whole. Her voice trembled. As we grow, the noise gets worse. Thoughts, emotions, fear, anger, desire, all of it crashes into us. Evan listened, his jaw tight. Most species can't stay near us long. Some try to use us. Others lock us away. My people, they decided isolation was mercy. They left you, Evan said quietly. She nodded once. They sealed the station and ran. I screamed, but their fear was louder than my pain. Silence filled the room. Evan felt something hot and heavy settle in his chest. Anger, not loud, controlled. That was wrong, he said. Salith studied his face. You feel it strongly, she said, but it doesn't burn. I don't let it, he replied. A faint smile touched her lips. You are dangerous in a gentle way, she said. Later, when the council ship arrived, Evan stood between the door and Salith's bed. The alien envoys did not cross the threshold. You are interfering with council authority, one of them said, its voice echoing unpleasantly. She is under human protection, Evan replied calmly. She is an empathic weapon, another hissed. Her kind has caused wars. She's a person, Evan said, and she's injured. The aliens shifted uncomfortably. Salith's presence pressed against them like distant thunder, even through walls. She chooses to stay, Evan added. Salith lifted her head. I choose, she said, her voice steady, because humans are quiet enough to hear. That sentence spread through the station like a shockwave. The envoys withdrew, not defeated but uncertain. When they were gone, Evan finally exhaled. Salith leaned against him, exhausted. You stood for me, she said. That's what humans do, he replied. She closed her eyes, safe for now. But far beyond the station, signals spread. Fear followed, and the galaxy began to notice that humans, long thought weak and emotionally dull, had done something no one else could. They had reached out. And the universe had answered. The council chamber was not built for comfort. It was built to intimidate. The room was vast and circular, with floating platforms arranged in layers. Each platform held delegates from different species. Some were tall and armored. Some were small and sharp-eyed. Some did not even have clear shapes, only shifting outlines held together by light and fields. At the center of it all stood a single human platform. Evan Hale stood there alone. Behind transparent energy walls, human security waited. Far above, council observers watched in silence. Every sound echoed. Every movement was recorded. Salith stood beside Evan. She looked smaller than ever in that place. Her glow flickered like a candle in a storm. The moment the chamber sealed, the pressure hit her. She gasped softly, her fingers digging into Evan's sleeve. He did not move away. Instead, he stepped closer, placing himself slightly in front of her without blocking her view. A simple human instinct, shield without aggression. The council speaker spoke, its voice layered and heavy. The empath designated Salith of the Luri is to be separated for evaluation, it declared. Human interference has already exceeded acceptable limits. Salith flinched. The noise was not sound alone. It was emotion, fear. Suspicion, hunger for control, all of it slammed into her at once. Evan felt her knees weaken. He caught her easily. "Easy," he said quietly. "I've got you." Her breathing slowed just enough. Several delegates shifted. "This is manipulation," a sharp-voiced delegate said. "The human is influencing her mental state." Evan looked up. "No," he said calmly. "I'm standing here." The room rippled with irritation. "You claim coincidence," another voice said, "yet she calms only when touching you." Salith lifted her head slowly. "Because he does not take," she said. "He does not push, he is still." Murmurs spread across the chamber. The speaker raised one appendage. Silence followed. "You will prove this," it said. "Release her." Evan's heart tightened. Salith's fingers trembled. "No," she whispered. Evan did not let go immediately. He looked down at her. "We don't have to," he said softly. She swallowed, then shook her head. "They will never stop," she said. "If I don't show them, they will cage me or kill me." His jaw tightened. "I'm right here," he said. Slowly, carefully, Salith pulled her hand away from his sleeve. The moment the contact broke, the chamber changed. The air seemed to vibrate. Salith gasped, her glow flaring bright and uneven. She staggered back one step, clutching her chest. The emotional weight of hundreds of minds crashed into her. Fear spiked through the room. "See," one delegate hissed. "Weapon." "No," Salith whispered, her voice shaking. "Too loud, too much." Evan stepped forward instantly. Security alarms flared. "Humans, stand back," the speaker ordered. Evan did not stop. He did not run. He did not shout. He simply walked. When he reached her, he did not grab her. He wrapped his arms around her gently, grounding her against his chest. The effect was immediate. Salith cried out once, then went still. Her glow dimmed, smoothing into a calm, steady light. The chamber fell silent. Every delegate felt it. The pressure vanished. Not just for Salith, for everyone. "What is this?" someone whispered. Evan held her, one hand resting between her shoulders, steady and warm. "It's called choice," he said. "We feel things. We don't let them rule us." Salith pressed her forehead against his chest, breathing slowly. "Through him," she said softly, "I can touch you without drowning." The speaker hesitated. "Explain," it demanded. Salith straightened, though Evan kept one arm around her. "My kind feels without filters," she said. "Most species project without control. Humans do not." She looked around the chamber, her gaze steady now. "They are quiet inside, not empty, ordered." A murmur spread again, different this time, curious, uneasy. "You call them weak," she continued. "But they are strong in a way you never learned. They hold themselves." One of the older delegates leaned forward. "Can you connect to us now?" it asked carefully. Salith hesitated. Evan felt it. "You don't have to," he murmured. She nodded, then took a slow breath. "I will," she said, "but only through him." She placed one hand over Evan's heart. Then she reached outward. The connection rippled through the chamber. Delegates stiffened. Some recoiled. Some gasped. They felt it then. Not invasion, not force, presence. Human presence. Calm beneath emotion. Control beneath instinct. Fear rose and then settled. Anger sparked and faded. For the first time, the council felt emotions without being consumed by them. The connection broke. Several delegates sat back, shaken. The speaker was silent for a long moment. "This changes much," it finally said. Before anyone could respond, alarms screamed. Red lights flared across the chamber. Hostile fleet detected, an automated voice announced. Non-council vessels entering orbit, a faction ship, one that had long argued the Luri should be eliminated. They will not wait for judgment, a delegate shouted. They will strike now. The chamber erupted into chaos. Salith stiffened. They are afraid, she whispered. Their fear is sharp. Evan tightened his arm around her. Can you shield? He asked. She nodded slowly. If I stay connected to you. Then we do it together. Explosions rocked the station. Emergency barriers snapped into place. Human security moved fast, efficient, silent. While others shouted orders, humans acted. Evan guided Salith toward a protected alcove. He never let go. Through him she reached outward not as a weapon but as a wall. Fear hit the attacking ships and stopped. Pilots hesitated. Commands faltered. Confusion spread. They could not push through the quiet. Human ships moved in, coordinated, precise. No wasted fire, no panic. Within minutes the attack ended. The hostile fleet retreated, broken not by force but by hesitation. The chamber slowly settled. Salith sagged against Evan, exhausted. He held her up easily. The speaker floated closer. The council recognizes a new truth, it said. Humans are not emotionally primitive. Salith looked up. They are safe, she said, for those who feel too much. Evan met the speaker's gaze. She stays with us, he said. The speaker paused, then nodded. So ruled. As they left the chamber together, Salith leaned closer to him. They heard me, she whispered. They did, Evan said. And they heard you, she replied. Out among the stars, a story began to spread. Humans were not loud, they were not weak. They were the calm the universe did not know it needed. The days after the council ruling were not peaceful. They were quiet in the way that comes before a storm. Human ships escorted Salith and Evan back to a protected station near the edge of council space. Officially, it was a medical and diplomatic outpost. Unofficially, it became the most watched place in the galaxy. Every signal was monitored, every movement analyzed. Evan felt it even when no one spoke about it. Eyes everywhere, fear hiding behind rules. Salith noticed it too. They are thinking very loudly, she said one evening as they stood near the station's wide viewing window. Stars drifted slowly past, cold and distant. Evan nodded. They're afraid of change. She rested her hand lightly against his arm. She did not need full contact now. Being near him was enough. They are afraid of losing control, she said, of learning they were wrong. Humans knew that feeling well. Reports came in daily. Some species demanded access to Salith. Others demanded she be destroyed. A few very quietly asked for help. Evan read every message. He answered none without careful thought. Salith watched him, curious. You carry responsibility like weight, she said. We've had practice, Evan replied. Human scientists worked nearby, always at a respectful distance. They learned without pushing. They asked permission before every test. Sometimes Salith agreed, sometimes she did not. Humans accepted both answers. That alone shocked the observers. She is not a tool, Evan reminded the council in every transmission. She is a person who chooses. Not everyone agreed. The warning came without sound. Salith froze mid-step, her glow flaring sharp and bright. Evan felt it instantly. What is it? He asked. Hate, she whispered. Focused. Cold. Before alarms could finish sounding, the station shook violently. Explosions ripped through the outer ring. Emergency lights flooded the halls in red. A hostile faction fleet had arrived, closer than expected, faster than predicted. They learned, Salith said, her voice tight. They learned how to block council sensors. Human security moved at once. No shouting, no panic. Orders passed hand to hand, calm and precise. Evan grabbed Salith gently but firmly. We're moving, he said. She nodded, fear flickering but controlled. As they ran through the corridor, Salith staggered. They are screaming, she gasped. Their fear, their anger, it's everywhere. Evan slowed, placing both hands on her shoulders. "Stay with me," he said, "just me." She locked onto his presence like a lifeline. "I'm here," she whispered. A blast tore through a nearby wall, throwing sparks and smoke across the hall. The station's artificial gravity flickered. Human soldiers formed a shield around them, bodies moving without hesitation. "They're not trying to capture," a soldier reported. "They're trying to erase." Evan understood. If Salith died, the truth died with her. They reached the central control chamber, reinforced and deep inside the station. Thick doors sealed behind them. The room shook as weapons fire continued outside. Salith sank to her knees. "I can't shut them out," she said. "There are too many." Evan knelt with her. "Then don't shut them out," he said. "Focus them." She looked at him, eyes wide. "That could hurt them," she said. "Not if you don't push," Evan replied. "Just be." She breathed slowly, matching his rhythm. Human presence spread through the room, not as power but as pattern, steady, calm, controlled. Salith reached outward, not to attack, not to dominate. She reached to connect. The attackers felt it. Pilots faltered as something unfamiliar touched them. Not pain, not fear, stillness. Their rage lost its edge. Their hatred blurred. Orders went unanswered. Weapons missed. Human ships moved in again, clean and precise. No wasted shots, no shouting over comms. Outside the control chamber, the battle shifted. Inside, Salith trembled. "It's heavy," she whispered. "So much emotion." Evan took her hands fully now. "You don't carry it alone," he said. She leaned into him, drawing strength. The connection deepened. The attackers did not feel conquered. They felt seen. Some broke away. Some powered down weapons. A few fled without firing again. The fighting slowed, then stopped. The station fell silent except for distant damage reports. Salith collapsed against Evan, completely drained. He held her easily, heart pounding. "It's over," he said. She nodded weakly. They couldn't fight the quiet. Medical teams rushed in. Humans moved carefully around Salith, respecting her space. News spread fast. A hostile faction had attacked and failed. Not because humans outgunned them, because humans refused to become what they feared. The council reconvened within hours. This time the tone was different. Fear was still there, but now there was respect. "They attempted genocide," one delegate admitted, "and were stopped without extermination." Another added, "This method changes conflict." Evan stood again before them, Salith seated safely behind protective fields. "She won't be your weapon," Evan said calmly, "and we won't be yours either." Salith stood, though her legs still shook. "My power is not destruction," she said. "It is balance. Humans taught me that." The speaker paused longer than ever before. "The Luri empath Salith will remain under human guardianship," it ruled. "And humanity will serve as intermediary for species deemed unstable." A ripple passed through the chamber. Humans had just been given a role no one else could fill. Outside the council, reactions exploded. Some species protested. Others requested contact. Quiet requests. Desperate ones, those who felt too much. Salith watched the stars again later, leaning against Evan. "They will come," she said. "Others like me. Broken ones." Evan nodded. "We'll be ready." She looked up at him. "You're not afraid?" she asked. He considered the question. "We are," he said honestly. "We just don't let it decide who we are." She smiled softly. In the darkness beyond the station, the galaxy shifted, not with fire, but with understanding. The new center was built on Earth's orbit, not on the planet itself. Humans wanted distance, space, and choice. The structure was simple, wide, and full of light. No sharp angles, no loud systems, no forced presence. They called it the Quiet Bridge. Salith stood near the transparent wall, looking down at the blue curve of Earth. Clouds moved slowly. Oceans reflected sunlight. Billions of minds lived there, but from this distance they felt like a soft hum instead of a storm. "It's beautiful," she said softly. Evan stood beside her, hands relaxed at his sides. He no longer needed to touch her all the time. The bond remained steady and strong like a shared rhythm. Humans like open skies, he said, even when we can't reach them. Salith tilted her head. Your world is loud, she said, but it's layered, the noise doesn't crush. That's us, Evan replied. We stack things, we carry a lot, we just don't put it all in one place. She smiled faintly. Delegations arrived daily. Ships from species that had never spoken openly to the council. Some were afraid, some were broken. Some had empathic individuals hidden away for generations. They came because of a story about an alien girl who whispered for silence and a human who listened. The first visitor arrived quietly, a thin being with skin like dark glass, trembling even inside a sealed suit. Salith sensed it the moment the ship docked. They're hurting, she said. Evan nodded. We'll go slow. They always did. The meeting room had no table, just open space and soft light. The visitor hesitated at the doorway, overwhelmed. Salith did not approach. Evan stepped forward alone and sat on the floor. He waited. After a long moment, the being moved closer. Salith watched, heart steady. The being reached out, unsure. Evan lifted one hand, offering without demand. Contact happened. The being collapsed, not in pain but in relief. Word spread faster after that. Humans did not conquer empaths, they grounded them. The galaxy struggled to understand this. Many still feared Salith. Some feared humans even more now. You could control us, an envoy accused during a council broadcast. Evan answered calmly. We could, we don't. Salith stepped forward beside him. Power that needs chains is not strength, she said. Humans taught me that. The council voted weeks later. For the first time in its history, it rewrote its laws on empathic species. Isolation was no longer called mercy. Control was no longer called safety. Choice became the rule. Salith was offered many titles. Weapon, asset, symbol. She refused them all. I am a person, she said simply. Instead, she chose a different role. She became a guide, not just for empaths, but for the galaxy. She worked with humans, trained with them, learned their strange emotional habits. She learned how humans processed grief, anger, joy, love, how they let emotions exist without letting them rule. You feel deeply, she told Evan once. You just don't drown, he shrugged. We learned the hard way. As months passed, Salith changed. She stood taller. Her glow softened permanently. She no longer flinched at distant thoughts. Earth orbit became a place of quiet miracles. Empaths slept peacefully for the first time. Old wars cooled. Negotiations that once failed found new paths, not because Salith forced understanding, because humans created space for it. One evening, Evan and Salith stood alone again by the viewing wall. You could leave, Evan said gently. Travel, see more of the galaxy. She considered it. I will, she said, but this will always be home, he smiled. You don't have to choose. She looked at him then, really looked. You never asked me to stay, she said. No, he replied. I wanted you to choose. She reached out and took his hand. I do. The galaxy reacted slowly. Change always did. Some species adapted, some resisted. A few isolated themselves further, but the quiet bridge remained. Humans continued doing what they had always done best. Listening, waiting, standing still when others pushed. Years later, history would mark this time not as the rise of human power, but the moment the galaxy learned a new definition of strength. It was not domination, it was presence. And at the center of that truth was a simple moment, recorded in human and alien archives alike. An injured alien girl, a human who stopped talking, and a touch that changed the stars.